Okay then, hello friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan, and welcome back to Chelsea News. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about today, so I thank you for joining me. We are going to look at this exclusive from Footy Headlines of the Chelsea away kit that's pretty out there, but you might like it. I'm on the fence. I'm going to talk you through my emotions of that. Also, I want to show you a very telling graphic from The Athletic regarding Chelsea last season, and indeed comparatively Manchester City. Might show you where a lot of our problems are. We're also going to talk about the big movers and shakers, or at least the big names, should I say, that still need to leave Chelsea. Of course, we've passed the soft deadline now of June the 30th, but there's still big names that won't be favoured in the club, and of course are on big wages, and Chelsea still ideally need to trim down the squad, baby. So let's get straight into it. Thanks for joining me. Do consider liking and subscribing to support the content. It's a nice thing to do for us content creators to see those likes and know that the work is appreciated. Alright then. What have I aggregated for you today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, first off, should I be wearing a cap, I would be doffing it in the direction of Cesc Fabregas, who has announced his retirement. Incredible career, you know, obviously probably most notably Barcelona, Arsenal, a little bit. Obviously, he was young, very good there though, and of course Chelsea as well, and indeed Monaco and Como, which is where he must have finished. You know, of course, that assist for Iniesta as well. You know, what an incredible player! Very much the maestro, wasn't he? So you don't really make him like Cesc Fabregas anymore. You know, you could argue maybe a touch of you know, people like De Bruyne and maybe Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United, but certainly we haven't got anything close to him. I was hopeful that Hakim Ziyech could be that guy, you know, because even though he's a winger, he used to cut inside, and he does those audacious sort of first-time passes without thinking that Cesc was so known for doing. Turns out, you know, maybe it will still be Ziyech, seeing as his transfer to Al Nassr has broken down. But in terms of what we've got now, probably most likely Enzo. Should Enzo actually move forward into maybe more of an 8 position where he can just do creative passes and not worry too much about, you know, sitting and just basically having a little bit more liberal side to his game when he's got someone like Caicedo next to him. Anyway, Cesc Fabregas, magnificent career, trophy-laden career. Won a couple of Premier Leagues with the Chelsea, of course. Incredible scenes. And yeah, we wish him all the best. And let's get into some other stuff. Right, Footy Headlines. I'm going to read you quickly what they've written on their website and show you the graphic, or the picture, by all accounts, of the new kit. Update, we can leak Nike's Chelsea 2023-24 away kit. It comes without a main sponsor, of course. Staker reportedly taking over the front of Chelsea's kits. The Chelsea 23-24 away kits, the upcoming season's away kit, is inspired by the away kit from the 02-03 season, colour-wise, so the season before we changed our badge. It's navy blue, and like the kit from 20 years ago. It is not like the kit from 20 years ago, and you'll see why. I'll just show you now. Ding! So, what do you think of that? You have to imagine a sponsor. It's got that sort of geometric graphic in the background. I quite like the colours because it's kind of like that, you know, not Chelsea blue, but it's like away kit Chelsea blue. And then the darker black navy, I don't know. I quite like the trim around the neck. It doesn't, you know, I'd be very disappointed if this was the Chelsea first team kit because it doesn't represent the first shirt, you know, the first kit. But as an away kit with a sponsor on, even though it could be steak, I don't know, like, I think this might look quite cool on players. It's quite daring. It obviously is going to divide opinion, as have so many of our shirts recently. Remember the Frank Lampard first season, where all the shirts were pretty cool, actually. Well, the away shirt was the sort of mod white collar shirt, which I really liked. And then the third shirt was that one with the black one with was it the brown collar that came down? It was weird, but loads of people like either detested that or thought that was an all-timer. Yeah, it hasn't returned in people's memories. Yeah, like if someone busted that down the street, I don't know what people would think. down to Fulham Road. There's probably loads of people wearing it, to be honest. But what do you think of that? I think it's quite cool. I like how they're trying to inspire from different times. Maybe it's quite telling. That would have been the season before Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea. Is there something to that, conspiracy theorists, for the new owners trying to, they've tried to remove themselves from Roman's era as much as possible by sacking every single person involved, changing some of the aesthetic of the club, like, the big Chelsea sign in front of Stamford Bridge, the Chelsea sign in the stadium itself going across, which I like both, by the way. I think they both look cool, and to be honest, I've wondered why we haven't had something like that. A little bit Americanized, but not untasteful. I wonder if there's, I'm probably being a bit of a conspiracy theorist here, but I like the badge. I like the colours. It's a bit of a radical geometric pattern, but I'll be very interested in your thoughts down below, baby. So yes, and that's by all accounts, the Chelsea away kit for next season. Interesting. Alright then, before we talk about sales and stuff, I want to show you another graphic that's very, very telling. And this is to do with injuries last season, so I'll bring it up now as I talk you through it. As you can see here, I know some people listen and don't look, so I'll talk you through it. This is a graphic of every Premier League team last season in terms of days and games missed with injuries. Now, top of the tree in terms of days and games missed is Chelsea Football Club by a relatively significant margin. Not only did Chelsea have the most days missed with players of injuries, they also had the most games missed. Now the games is the brown part, the days are the blue part on each part of the graph here. So this is not Chelsea Football Club. We had a massive squad as well. We should have been able to avoid injuries with the amount of bodies we had in the building. But no, in fact, we had by far the most. And that is really, really worrying. And second place is Nottingham Forest, but they were all over the gaff as well. Note here, the team with the least days missed with injuries, the team with by far, and that's by far the least days and least games missed, is treble winning Manchester City, who have a good squad, but they didn't have a bigger squad as us. And they absolutely smashed this. This is why, this is not the only reason, but this is really, really key. This is really, really important. To have that many little games missed and that many days missed with injury is why they just can consistently be good, because they can afford continuity. And they looked after Haaland. They kept bringing him off at 60 minutes when he was on a hat-trick. I know that's a nice place to be when you can afford to bring off your main striker at 60 minutes, who's already won the game for you. As much as Haaland might be upset with that, but apparently there was a pre-agreement that, they will look after him like that. And to be honest, man, Haaland had injury problems at Dortmund. He's absolutely smashed this City season, won a treble and scored over 50 goals with no injury problems. And that's because they know what they're doing. They're looking after him, and they've had a plan for him injury-wise. Chelsea is an absolute crap show. We had so much cover, so many different players to come in for other players who were fatigued, and we were the worst in the Premier League. Now, hark back to a time when Chelsea were excellent, we never used to have injuries. Guess what? We were successful back then. Arsenal, when they were scraping top four, they always used to have injuries. Chelsea were renowned for just doing really well and not having injuries. It's such an important thing. Now, there's two ways to look at it. You could also say that perhaps Chelsea players weren't fit. We've, of course, spoken about this and reflected on this many, many times in recent videos. Frank Lampard's comments, and indeed others saying the Chelsea players just aren't fit. So when they aren't fit and you send them onto a football pitch, or you send them into pre-match training, they pull muscles, they have soft tissue injuries, and they're just not, ready for a football match, which is freaking amateur, dude. This is basic stuff. And Manchester City nailed it. They played so many games, probably the most games of any Premier League. I'm assuming so. Yeah, they must have done, because they won the treble. So, and I'm trying to think, these teams who have to play all the Europa Conference qualifiers and got to the final, like West Ham, but at the same time, they didn't get to the finals of the other cups. So Man City, most games, least injuries. Something to think about, and that is probably a large reason why Chelsea was so bad last season. So we sacked a lot of the medical staff. We've got the new guys in. But again, this is Igbali, Blue Co, Chelsea owners, you love data-led, research and data-inspired stuff. Look at that, my friends, because that is indicative to what, everything essentially what happened last season. So I hope they are on it. I hope they are bringing the relevant people, experienced people. That you want to spend 100 million on Enzo, 80 million on Caicedo. Spend whatever it takes to bring in the appropriate medical staff to ensure this does not happen again. Alright then, so we've shown you medical graphics, I've shown you kits, let's talk about players. Chelsea, we've done really well with sales, bar maybe the Ziyech falling through, and we've got some big, Mount, I don't think Mount got over the line in terms of the soft deadline, unless it has quietly in the background. We had a little laugh yesterday about Nicholas Jackson signing like the night before the soft deadline began. He probably, signed in the evening with Bowley and they got his long-term contract over the line. Sorry, I'm not talking about the soft deadline here. I'm talking about the UEFA rule change, to put a long-term contract on, which is something different. But yeah, that we joked about that he managed to get Nicholas Jackson's contract over the line probably hours before UEFA changed the rule and prevented Chelsea from taking advantage of the loophole. But yes, there was a soft deadline for the financial fair play element of our bookkeeping. Whether Mason Mount, I don't think he has signed for United. Even in the background, of course, there'll be an announcement. But I don't know. I doubt he'd actually signed a deal with United to be sold prior to the 30th. We'll have to see what happens, but I doubt it. But Mount's gone as far as we're concerned. So who's left? We've got who's the high and Azpilicueta is gone to Atletico Madrid. So high profile names. Who's left? Well, really, it's Christian Pulisic. It's Aubameyang, which we might have to rip up his contract. It's Romelu Lukaku, and of course Hudson-Odoi. People like Ampadu and Malang Sarr will sell to our other club, Strasbourg. I don't think it'll be an issue. Ethan Ampadu, he could probably get a cheap sale in Serie A. He's well known out there, Wales international, versatile player. Not really worried. Callum Hudson-Odoi is a very interesting one because we'll probably sell him within the Premier League, maybe to like a Nottingham Forest or a West Ham. Clubs that do admire him. He does also have admirers abroad still, even though Bayer Leverkusen just didn't utilise him. I think Alonso maybe thought, he's only on loan, we're not going to buy him. I'm not going to make him part of this development project, which does happen a lot. And that's why, another reason why the multi-club model is so good. So if you loan a player to a club, you don't, the aforementioned Ethan Ampadu had so many crap loans where he just didn't play. And whether it's Leipzig or Sheffield or one of the Italian loans, I don't know. But Hudson-Odoi sat on the bench all season for Bayer Leverkusen. This is a depreciating asset. This is no development. So, you send them to one of your multi-clubs, you freaking play this kid, because it's in all our interest that you play him and develop him, You scratch our back and, well, we're all scratching our own back, do you know what I mean? But I do think Hudson-Odoi, that won't be an issue. Lukaku's is a blockbuster, high profile. What's going to happen with you, mate? Because he's on his knees to stay at Inter, but I'm not sure it's going to happen unless we do accept 30 million quid after another year loan. Maybe we do. Because you don't need it. Clearly, we've accounted for the previous period for financial fair play. That we got all the sales we needed before. We've certainly got Kovacic, Havertz, Mendy, and Koulibaly over the line, and they all generated significant revenue and alleviated ourselves of significant wages as well. So one would assume that made us safe. So now everything is just trying to get the most we can for the next period. And Chelsea bought a lot of youngsters as well. They bought another 2 yesterday. So they're thinking over the next 4 year, period of financial fair play, some of these youngsters might be in the first team. Chelsea might have sold a couple more and they'll be safe financially. So I'm not going to say that the Romelu Lukaku sale money will be a bonus now, because it absolutely won't. It will be a catastrophic loss and it will be dumb, because we paid so much money for him, high wages, and we sent him away to be loaned for a season, probably 2 seasons, to depreciate as an asset, and then sold him for tuppence, probably for a third of what we bought him for. If that. Less than a third of what we bought him for, and we got one relatively underwhelming season out of him. which is tragic. But this is a problem, of course, that the new ownership had inherited. And, you know, this one is not on them. This one's not on them. So, you know, fair play, I guess. He's going to be sold, I guess. So, we'd ideally would be Saudi, but if he really digs his heels in, lowers his wages, maybe we find a way to get him to Inter. Juve, I mean, there is talk of a Juve, Vlahovic, Lukaku swap. Maybe later in the deal, something creative happens like that. Like, all right, we'll give you Romelu Lukaku and £30 million if you give us Vlahovic. Does that work? Maybe. I don't know. They do need money, and they haven't qualified for the Champions League due to their points deduction. Anyway, it's tough. It's tough. I'll be very interested in learning your thoughts on who we can actually get out the door still. Do you think we could sell everyone? You know, where's Ziyech going to go? It's very interesting. And I just want people's opinions now because I'm up here speculating, but interested in knowing your thoughts on the injury issue and also that new Chelsea away kit, which I think looks very nice. So thanks for joining me. Remember to hit the bell because there'll be a video later, and take care of yourselves. Peace.